I saw this with Ross Tucker, that Tom Brady voluntarily makes about half what he should, yet the Patriots are making him earn an extra $5 million. How is that not insulting? Ross Tucker joins us on loan from NBC Sports Network and the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, and he joins us now. Good morning, Ross.
Dan, how are you?
Good. Explain this to me, what the Patriots are doing to Tom Brady.
I have no idea. I was tweeting about that this morning. How is that not insulting? I mean, the guy's scheduled to make $15 million a year the next 2 years, and that's probably half, Dan, of what he's really worth. I mean, he's really worth even more than that. But based on the market right now, it's half of what he's really worth. Clearly, based on some of the rumbles this offseason, he kind of wanted a bump up, and so now they're giving him $5 million in incentives. And so this is bizarre, Dan. Now, maybe they are not likely to be earned incentives, and it's a salary cap thing, but that's a joke. I mean, first of all, the guy led the NFL in passing yards last year and was the MVP. So anything that's not likely to be earned, that's hard to accomplish, number one. And then number two, he's under contract for next year. There are a million different salary cap mechanisms, as you know, Dan, that they could do to just give him $5 million more. I mean, if that's all he's asking for, if I was Bob Kraft and Bill Belichick and all Tom Brady wanted was $5 million more, I would be so thankful and then just give it to him. This to me is bizarre.
I think there are 43 players who are paid more than Tom Brady is. McLovin, did you find out how many quarterbacks are paid more than Tom Brady?
No, I'll get that in a sec.
Yeah. Why is now Brady has been a bargain, but he's taken less, or they spread it out so they could spend money elsewhere? Is that been the common logic here behind Brady and the Patriots?
It has been. What's funny about that, though, Dan, is they're not a team that's typically butting up against the salary cap, and I think they have a bigger middle class than most teams. They're not going to spend huge money on guys. They went out and got Stephon Gilmore, a couple years ago or a year ago, and they spent big money for him. They have more guys making between $2 and $5 million that kind of add up than other teams. But yeah, I've always thought that was curious that Brady takes less. And then it's every year, it's okay, well, there goes Malcolm Butler. There goes Deion Lewis. Oh, goodbye, Nate Solder, my left tackle. At what point is Brady wait a minute, I am taking less money, and not only are you not playing Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl for some reason to give us the best chance to win the game, but you're also letting my left tackle walk out the door. So now they got Trent Brown at left tackle, who the 49ers didn't even want to play right tackle, and that's the guy protecting your 41-year-old backside? It's crazy.
I took exception, or I disagreed. Took exception sounds strong. I disagreed with a tweet you had last night where you said, I swear Baker Mayfield looked just like Drew Brees on his touchdown throw, and it's not just because they're both 6-foot white guys. I see more Brett Favre.
What did you disagree about?
I see more Brett Favre than I do Drew Brees with Baker Mayfield.
I can see that. I think personality-wise, Baker Mayfield's definitely more like Brett Favre, definitely. But in the pocket, I was just so struck by how athletic and active his feet were and how quick he went through his progressions and turned his shoulders. Drew Brees does that even in pregame warmups. It's kind of weird. He'll throw the ball to the right sideline, then he'll quick swivel his hips to the middle, then to the other side to mentally go through his progressions. And watching Baker Mayfield at 6 foot and the way he moved around and manipulated the pocket and went through his progression so quickly, I thought it looked like Drew Brees. I really did. Now, Brees isn't as fast as Mayfield was on that one run or whatever, but in the pocket, he's as close to Drew Brees as I can remember seeing.
What do you expect out of Andrew Luck and the Colts this season?
I think Luck is very fortunate in that, unlike a lot of these other guys, Dan, that if they lost their arm talent or if their arm wasn't quite as strong, they'd be totally done. Andrew's smart enough and knowledgeable enough from a football standpoint, he'll figure it out. Like even if his arm is at 85% of what it used to be, he'll still be a good player in the NFL because he moves around pretty well and he's that bright. I think that division is totally up for grabs. I can see any team winning it. I still, though, would probably have the Colts in last. I just don't think they have enough around him. Jacksonville's loaded. Houston's one of the more interesting teams I've seen in a while, where you have like 5 stud players all coming off major injuries. So kind of unknown what happens there. And I think Tennessee is under the radar for a team that won a playoff game on the road last year and then added some pieces. So I think Luck, healthy all season, puts the Colts in the mix, but I still don't think that they're good enough to win that division.
Talking to Ross Tucker Football Podcast, also works with the NBC Sports Network, Westwood One, and Sirius XM. The Dallas Cowboys, I don't know what the over-under, I think it's 9.5, but I have concerns. I have more concerns with the Cowboys than I probably thought I was going to. They don't have a big receiver. You do have the line. You do have the running back. I don't know about the defense. I'm not sure still about the play calling, situational play calling with the Cowboys. They can be predictable, but your thoughts on what you expect out of the Cowboys?
Yeah, I'm not as high. I'm not very high on the Cowboys either. You look at it, Dan, and we'll see if they get Earl Thomas. A lot of people still think that's going to end up happening, but they've got as bad of a wide receiving core as there is in the NFL. They've got probably the worst tight end group in the NFL. I mean, Jeff Swaim and Blake Jarwin, those are the tight ends, and that's a big difference from having a guy that's reliable like Jason Witten. And even as good as their offensive line is, I didn't think Connor Williams looked great at left guard last night. La'el Collins really struggled at right tackle a year ago. And then they have the defensive issues. So I'm with you. I think actually their win total keeps going down, and I'd still probably hit the under just because they got a pretty tough schedule. They play the NFC South. I think the Redskins will be better. I think the Giants will definitely be better, and the Eagles are still good. So, I mean, the Giants feel like the Cowboys feel like another 7 or 8 win team to me, because I also didn't think Dak Prescott looked real good at the end of last year. We'll see if he can bounce back.
I think it was it Martellus Bennett who has a podcast where he said that it's Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Tom Brady, but Brady's easier to play for, if that sounds right. McLovin, do I have that right with Bennett?
I actually don't know that quote. Okay. But that sounds right.
Yes.
I think he said...
No, it was similar to that, Dan. It was something like that. I thought maybe he said Rodgers had a better arm, but Brady throws a more catchable ball.
Okay.
It was something of that ilk, though, for sure.
Is that true?
I mean, it's pretty clear, though, Dan. Martellus Bennett did not get along with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that was not a good. I don't think he ever. I mean, what did he play? A couple of games maybe, and then he got hurt, and they thought he should come back from injury, and he didn't. I mean, that was just a real bad situation all around. He did not have a good experience in Green Bay, and vice versa.
Does Aaron Rodgers end his career as the best quarterback in the NFL over that period, even though Tom Brady is going to have all of these Super Bowls? Like, how does that work, that the guy who it feels like is the general consensus best quarterback has won Super Bowl?
Yeah, and so I think you're right, Dan, that a lot of people look at it that way, and I think that that's in large part, and you contributed to this, by the way, back in your SportsCenter days, but I think we're becoming more and more on social media, more and more of a highlight culture, right? Like, so what do I see all morning is all these highlights of how big and strong Josh Allen's arm is, the Lamar Jackson play over and over again. You know, nobody's really great at what they do by flashes of brilliance. It's consistency that makes people great. One of the reasons why I think people are so high on Aaron Rodgers is he has consistency and flashes of brilliance that make us marvel at some of the throws he makes, that we don't really see that from Brady. But I'm with you in the sense that Aaron Rodgers, not only does he only have one Super Bowl title, Dan, they haven't even gotten back. I mean, Brady has gone to the Super Bowl, 8 times in his 17 years where he's actually played or something, which is insane. Aaron Rodgers has been to one. So I almost look at it differently. I look at Aaron Rodgers like he's a play or two away in that Super Bowl against the Steelers for being this generation's Dan Marino. You know, where he went to one Super Bowl early, wasn't able to get it done. We all marvel at how he can throw the ball. He's awesome. We love watching him, but not able to get it done after that. And what's even more bizarre to me than that, Dan, I was thinking about this one time. If you go back to like 92, right, when Brett Favre was first starting for the Packers have had a top 5 quarterback in every year for like 26 years now, and they won 2 Super Bowls. That doesn't seem that good to me. I mean, the Ravens have won 2 Super Bowls with Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco. Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls, and none of them were top 5. The Packers for 26 years in a row have had a top 5 quarterback, and they've won 2 Super Bowls. To me, that's underachieving, having a top 5 quarterback for 26 consecutive years.
More of these opinions, Ross Tucker's Football Podcast. Hey, have a great weekend, bud. We appreciate your time as always.
Absolutely. Very jealous of the Meat Friday, fellas. See ya.
Thank you. That's Ross Tucker.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.